Hi, everyone. This is Hal Hawkins with the Retro World Series. Um, we are here for episode 4, and I think it's going to be a good one. Today, we're going to be talking with Ryan Berger of Old School Gamer Magazine, and he has been a sponsor of us for, I guess, a year and a half now. And we're going to talk about kind of how he got started, where he plans on taking it. How he got the idea of why old school gaming, and why would he want to make a print magazine about it? And also, one thing we are going to announce next week. Figured I'd go ahead and get this out of the way now. Is next week we are going to announce a online summer league, or summer league online. So you're going to want to tune in next week, same time, June 11th, and this is going to be a series of 24 tournaments over a 12-week period over the entire summer, and I think it's going to be great because this allows us to, this really allows us to expand our reach, allows everyone to take part in tournaments that they may not be able to do. We've gone to a lot of places. We're grateful that we've got thousands of you that have decided to like us and follow us, but we, especially with what's going on right now, we haven't been able to go anywhere, and I think we're all itching to play a little bit more. And we haven't had any tournaments, and there aren't any plans to have any for quite a while, and so I think this is going to be a good opportunity for everyone, to all over the country, even places we haven't visited, to sit down and compete and have fun with the rest of us. So right now, I am pleased to introduce Ryan Berger of Old School Gamer Magazine. Hi, Ryan. Thanks for having us.
Very cool. I'm excited about these tournaments. So, actually, before we get into my stuff, tell me what are you not going to tell people what the games are yet, or is that coming up next week? I don't want to
Well,
know.
I'm working on the schedule. Preferably, everything would be on a Saturday. 2 tournaments every week.
Cool.
So that's why 24 tournaments over 12 weeks. A few bye weeks here and there because of holidays or travel or whatever. But enough tournaments, and I want to allow people to play a whole bunch of different tournaments. So like some conventions, we have Smash 64 every time. Well, this time we may do one Smash 64 tournament, but we're going to have a whole bunch of other games that everyone's going to have the opportunity to play. That when we have time constraints at conventions, we can't have everything, unfortunately. So I
Yeah.
think
Well,
this time,
I've been getting into Super Mario Kart recently, so I'm enjoying the old school kart stuff. I never played those earlier ones before the Switch stuff came out. I never played much on those kinds of games. I'm having a blast with it. I'm
do you have a Super Nintendo, or is this what you're playing on the Switch right now?
I was playing on Super Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
I got
Well,
one
we've
that's
had some
I
really good Super Mario Kart tournaments. I mean, surprisingly, sometimes we've had the turnout as high as what a Mario Kart 64 tournament would be. And
cool.
it's that's spoiler alert, that is one of the games we are going to plan on having a tournament for. Why not? And so there's going to be it's not going to be just we're not going to have multiples of one game. We're going to try and fit in as many games as we can. So those 24 tournaments equal 24 different games. So
I know the last time we were together, if I remember correctly, Houston.
yep.
You had a frog bog tournament going. Are you going to go back in television ages, or are you going to keep it a little bit newer?
Well, that one was actually Atari 2600,
Oh,
but
the 26. Yeah, frog bog is
yeah,
different. That was
because that on our Atari it's called Frogs and Flies, but everyone knows the movie Grandma's Boy, and they called it Frog Bog there, which was the Intellivision version. I don't know if it was on the ColecoVision or not, but we're working on that. I'm finalizing what the final list of tournaments are going to be, because there's so much to choose from. Even when you we can do 24 games now. Well, that's even tough to narrow it down there, because I have a huge list of competitive games, and it just comes down to what the most people are going to want to play, and You know.
Well, the reason, I mean, television popped in my head and Frog Bug and stuff like that popped in my head. That's where I started with video games. I started with it, and television was my first video game console. Let's see. Um, and first computer was a TI 99 4A, and then I moved into Apple II kind of stuff, is where I started my whole computer stuff out.
So you started out with a really bad controller, right? I
Oh,
mean
come
that
on!
I mean that was like last week. You know, I was
It
talking to
wasn't
John Lester.
it wasn't
His
a
first commit.
5200 controller, though.
You know, he was talking about, yeah, he started out with a ColecoVision. So both of y'all started out with these really bad controllers. Like, sorry, I mean, my first one of my I think my first console was an Atari 2600. I also had an Odyssey as well, and
I had an Odyssey. I bought it at a garage sale, and yes, I took the little gun that it had, just shot at the lamp instead, and all of a sudden it worked. But yeah, I had an Odyssey at one point. So, but yeah,
and what's crazy
that's
is this may be something you can research. The Odyssey I had was, and this was 30 years ago, but the Odyssey I got was not the typical Odyssey you think of, the original one. And I don't have a picture of it because I wasn't. This is an impromptu conversation, but um, it was almost like a built-in a console with built-in games. And I haven't found. I've looked for it. I can't find it anywhere. And obviously, unfortunately, I got rid of it a long time ago, but because it wasn't cool anymore as a kid. But yeah, it had all. It didn't have the cartridges, I guess, that the Odyssey had. It was
the original Odyssey before the Odyssey 2 that most people know. The
right.
original Odyssey just had cards that put in there, and there's
Right.
nothing on the game cards. It just rewired how the other stuff works, from hockey mode to ping pong mode to that.
Yeah, because this had baseball on it. I think it was. It may have actually been an Odyssey 2, but it was like a re-release that I'll have to find it someday, and maybe someone will watch this and go, "Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about." It wasn't your traditional Odyssey 2. It was like it was black. It was.
Maybe it was a European import edition or so, but yeah.
Who knows? My parents got it, so I don't.
Where we started, yeah. So yeah,
So
that's when my history starts on all this stuff. I got into I skipped over Nintendo a little bit, got a Sega Genesis, got into some other later consoles. Bought my first arcade machine, was the 4-player Gauntlet 2 game.
oh
And that was
wow.
my first arcade machine. Since then, I've owned about probably 40 different arcade machines. I love it.
So is that why in your latest issue of Old School Gamer magazine you had a Sega does what Nintendo article?
Yeah, we had some fun. We had some fun with that issue, on everything. And each one of our issues, we have a general theme to, and we kind of hit that decade in that area on stuff.
Right.
And each issue has lots of different articles, but we try to center around one theme. I mean, the latest issue, um, little bit of Mario styled on there, and we cover a bunch of that kind of stuff. The next issue we're working on is an air and space issue, and after that, I think we're going back to another decade, and then we have fun with it. Let's just say, and everybody that's involved in this is doing it for the passion of gaming. We have some people that have some great gaming history. Howard
Right.
Scott Warsaw, who was involved in Atari at the beginning, writes for us. We have William Donahue, who had a history in the 1990s of working in gaming magazines, is one of my primary editors. We have some other great people that I was telling you about that you can't tell people about until it comes out. But we have a great
Right.
pop culture icon of pop culture that's going to be writing in an upcoming issue of the magazine. So we fun.
Let's go back to the very. You talked about you in television and Gauntlet too. So where did you like? What's your background? Is gaming your background, or is this something that kind of came out of left field, or like a passion project you always wanted to do?
Well, for 25 years, I was involved in the mobile DJ industry, both as a mobile DJ running a company and everything. And then after about 5 years of that, no, 10 years of that, I created the first website for mobile DJs in 1995. In 2006, bought the trade show magazine and trade show industry, a company called Mobile Beat, which I've since in the process of selling right now. So I have a publishing and event production background that I decided about 3 years ago that I wanted to apply and do something within within the retro video gaming community. I had gone to a couple expos, including Midwest Gaming Classic for a couple of years, and saw that there was not a magazine anymore for us. There was, the some of the standard PlayStation magazines and stuff like that. There wasn't one for retro gamers. There had been 3 or 4 people in the past that have tried to do them, but they never succeeded. They never had the advantage that me and some of my friends had of already being a publisher. I saw that there was already some great cons going on. There's people like yourself doing retro tournaments. There's great podcasts. There's great YouTube channels, but no one was doing a retro gaming magazine. So November of 2018, we come out with our first issue, which blew me away. It was fun.
Was it print only, or did it start out digital and print, or how did it start?
It started out in print. We decided that the people that are collecting these magazines, that are collecting these, 2-foot tall replica arcade games, like physical stuff. Digital magazine, a digital blog, they're great, but we wanted to curate the content and have something more detailed, more physical. So right. we have 15,000 digital subscribers, and we have 700 or 800 print subscribers. The print subscribers primarily help us pay our bills, which we're doing okay at, but we could use a couple more subscribers. Let's call it that.
Right. So was this when you started it, was it a solo act, or was there something like, okay, I need to get a team together? How did all that come to be?
I started reaching out on some of the chat groups and telling people what I was working on. I was down at Classic Game Fest down in Austin, and was talking with Walter Day, Billy Mitchell, and a couple other people down there. They turned me on to a couple of people who had some experience in the area. Said, well, if you're going to do this, contact him. And I put the word out there. Thor Thorvaldson contacted me, started doing all of our covers, done everyone since then. Brett Weiss started writing for me, who I'm assuming you've crossed some
paths. The video game historian. Right.
Yeah. And a bunch of those people started contacting me. So the first issue, we had probably half professional writers and half were just friends of mine from before, including Brad Feingold, who's been a friend of mine for, 35 years now, or even longer than that.
I've had fun with him at some of the conventions.
Yeah. So, but Brad hung out with you in Vegas, I remember.
Yeah.
So he started doing stuff for me right out of the gate, and we put it together. And then we started attracting some attention, and these other people contacted me. And subscribers started showing up in our gambit. I mean, what was it, a year ago? Richard Garriott, as in Lord British, all of a sudden out of the blue subscribed to the magazine. It's like, cool. I mean, just little stuff like that, and right. We contacted other people, and they started finding out about us. Now I'm getting contacted by, we just made a connection a couple weeks ago by the guy who was in charge of Project Xbox. We don't consider Xbox quite enough retro yet for our coverage, but he contacted us and started subscribing to the magazine.
Oh, you're hurting me, man, because I just added original Halo, so you're telling me it's not retro anymore.
Well, okay. When did the Xbox come out? The original, like 2000, 2001?
Oh boy, yeah, 2000.
It's right around there as to when we're gonna start covering it.
It's almost 20 years, man.
We'll cover that, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, to have someone like that just contact us blew me out of the water. And then when other people, it's like, cool, they want their story told. Let's see, Ed Smith wrote a book. Oh, you can't see it. There it is. He was one of the first African Americans involved in video gaming back in the 70s. He just contacted us, wants to spread the word and tell people more about stuff back then. It's like, cool. These people are coming out of the woodwork, and we're getting to tell stories that get documented physically, and it means something to have your story out there for the rest of the world to see and read 20 years from now.
I mean, because that was going to be one of my follow-up questions. Was new games come out all the time. Retros stays the same essentially until you add a new console or whatever. But
yeah.
So it hasn't been a problem finding content dealing with the old stuff. It's like, okay, there's so many historical, or you can review games, you can do, there's so many things you can do. Or has it been tough to where it's like, man, what can we talk about that hadn't been talked about before?
Well, they're finding all kinds of things. I mean, I remember hearing, 6 months ago, Ed Boon let out that the codes were still in the original Mortal Kombat games to get into the control panel system. And people found out that those codes that were made so that they could check their software, carried all the way through the ROMs. They're actually in those arcade one-up machines you buy at Walmart. You can still get into the administrator control panel of it. Just things like that are cool. And then the reinventions and stuff, like what Intellivision's doing, and Tommy Tallarico and his gang are reinventing what was the family gaming from way back then. You know, there's news about old stuff coming out all the time.
So, what was it? Was it tough starting a magazine? I mean, I've printed ads and brochures and mailed them out to thousands of people, but was like, okay, to format it, to create all the artwork, all this different stuff. I mean, how long did it take you just to get started on that? And
I had the advantage of having the publishing background. I had a guy who worked with me on publishing
the trade show magazine, right?
The DJ magazine and all the stuff with that.
Yeah.
And he was able to get me started, get me the material to work off. That first issue, I probably put in 200 hours. I don't know. I mean, just tweaking and working with it. I knew enough about Adobe and stuff, and then I was able to follow the trend of what I did with MobileBeat and do stuff with it. I have since MobileBeat went out of print, went to just digital, the exact opposite direction of what Old School Gamer has done, and we're taking things way past there, what we ever did with MobileBeat, because I've been learning a ton of material. I mean, it's just something that we found the platform that people are enjoying. They're liking the material that's out there. It's much beyond the blogs and stuff that you can find everywhere else. We've started to find our niche as to what this magazine can cover that is way beyond what just a blog or just a podcast does. We're finding our own thing that the magazine can do uniquely better than anything else.
Right. Now, one of the unique things about your magazine is each issue comes with a poster. Where did that idea come up? You know,
just from what I remember.
Oh, we're gonna add a poster to it. Was it kind of like the old Nintendo Power stuff that would sometimes have posters in them? Or?
You were just used to getting your magazine, and you'd have a poster in it. It was just something that came with it. For a while, we were doing some Walter Day's cards. We're putting in there, just other little. You're used to getting that kind of stuff in there. And we wanted to bring out that retroness. We had people buying.
Do you have your own Walter Day card now? Do you have your own trading card?
Yeah, I think I have a couple of them now.
I've had some people come up and sign them and like, here's my card. So I haven't done that yet. I still got my stack laid around, so I need to start signing them and handing them out.
Gift, and he's been with us since the beginning of the magazine. He was one of the people I talked with down at Classic Game Fest in Austin.
Oh, Walter's awesome, man.
And he just gives the world to the industry. I'm just trying to make sure he can pay his bills because he never did financially profit off of it, and he lives a very meager life. And I'm just trying to get him more gigs to come out and then meet people. I mean, it's a trip when I can talk to a 6 or 7 year old kid comes up at one of these cons that dad is going gaga over meeting Walter or Billy or whoever it is, and I point out, have you seen Wreck-It Ralph? You know the guy that owns the arcade? That's based on him. He's the referee shirt guy. You know Ralph? You know,
so
it's great.
So you're in Iowa. So
yes.
did you grow up, or you're a little older, so you're maybe in high school age, but were you aware of the Galloping Ghost thing when you were growing up, or college, high school?
You mean Twin Galaxies?
I'm not going to make you say your age. So
well, I'm 48, so I moved out here in 80, 81, 82 area. I think it's 82.
That was after Walter sold it, I believe.
After the heyday of Twin Galaxies. I had no idea what was going on. So when I started finding out this stuff, it was from an arcade auction friend of mine who actually used to supply the machines for Twin Galaxies. So I started seeing the circles and stuff. So I didn't meet Walter until 2 years before I started the magazine. And then it was just a casual meet. And I've gone down to see where things used to be. Atum was a very interesting town. It's about 2 hours away from me. And it's kind of depressing, honestly. The beginning of esports started in this little town that is not doing very well. Let's call it that.
No scene of the town so people can see it behind you.
No, you could. No, I didn't have. This is
just Google it. Just Google it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If you want to check out more information on Walter, check out walterday.com. You can see a little bit more about the history and everything about it.
so you've got to come up with new content. So you're keeping up with, I guess, the trends in retro gaming. So, what are you seeing that's really getting you excited in the retro gaming world? You see, new kind of, I guess, consoles like, the what was it, the Amico or the
Yeah,
Intel
yeah,
or
it
the
really comes down to,
VCS or
yeah, there's a lot
I
of
mean,
people
those
want
things go.
to.
Oh man, I can't wait to try those, man. This is really gonna boost the retro gaming community. Or
Well, here, let me grab some off my shelf here. Stuff. There we go. To give you an idea, because people like myself, and I'm judging in the ballpark of yourself, and anybody that grew up in the 70s and 80s video gaming are now professionals. They now have jobs. They now have more than just their newspaper route money. They're able to go out and buy stuff. Companies are marketing products like this. I mean, this is a replica 12-inch PlayScale arcade machine from Replicade. Yeah, Replicade Amusements. NewWaveToys.com. I'm just plugging them because they're an advertiser. But people are able to spend $100 on an arcade, a retro arcade
like
machine.
those one-up arcades you see in
Yeah,
Walmart now.
the one-up arcade stuff, the stuff that Retrobit puts out. Companies now see us as someone they can valuably market towards and sell products to. So those stuff are coming out. The Hyperkin consoles that do HDMI kind of stuff. Yes, I know you personally are hardcore into the original hardware on two monitors, but those kinds of things make it a lot more available to us. I just saw announcements Sega's putting out some little Game Gear units that are about that big.
Yeah, I saw that
Those
little
things
pocket
are
Game
coming
Gear
out and
kind of
becoming
thing.
popular. All these cons that you and I go to, they've all doubled in size in the last 5-10 years easily because people like us want to relive the glory days of the arcade and glory days of video games when you wouldn't have to spend 15 minutes in a game to get into it. You could have fun in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, I mean, I never, I know when I was playing arcades, I never really got good at any of them. I just wanted to play as many as I could. We only had so many quarters too, so But we there were so many games we wanted to play. It wasn't like, oh, I just want to sit down. I know some people were different. There was people that just loved to sit down and play one Street Fighter game or whatever. But I just wanted to play all of them because you didn't get those at home.
I wanted to hang out at the scene and just kind of be there. That was the mall hangout, the scene, the movie theater, the arcade kind of stuff. Nowadays, you've got these bar arcades, places where you come in there instead of a sports bar, you have arcade machines. Or you go into some place like Galloping Ghost in Chicago, or the old school arcade down in Ottumwa that is the spiritual successor to Twin Galaxies. Right. You pay $5 to $15, you can play all day. Those are the places that are getting popular. I mean, there's definitely some arcades down your direction I know you've been to. I'm going to be driving down to Northwest Arkansas to visit one that a friend of mine runs that you pay $5, $10, $15, you can play all day. That's what we used to burn through a roll of quarters in like 10, 15 minutes. Now we can hang out.
Free play in Richardson is awesome. At the time, or last time I was there, was $10 and you could just play all you wanted. Or, there's some places where you can buy a ticket or buy a card to use them, or you just buy a band or whatever and you get in and play all the time. I think pinball's in Austin. I don't know if you've been there yet. Have you been to pinballs in Austin when you've been to Classic Game Fest? Okay, we may have to go there then. But yeah, they've got tons of old pinball machines and arcades, and so if you just want to go sit down and play one evening,
my favorite place that I've been to, the largest place that I've seen that has games, that is at Galloping Ghost. If you're outside Chicago, 600 arcade machines, and I believe up to about 150 pinball machines. One entry fee of like $15. They have everything, and some stuff no one else has, like the Beavis and Butthead video game. No one else has got it. Arcade machine. It's just cool as heck.
Yeah, I haven't been to Chicago since 2000. I've driven by it to go to conventions, but I haven't been able to actually go in there and try it. So I'm gonna have to figure out some way to go to Galloping Ghost and check it. I don't know why I said Galloping. I was thinking Twin Galaxies, but yeah.
I know. I knew what you're saying, and we're good. But places like that are fantastic. There's places in New York. There's places in a lot of the major metros that are literally run by fanatics that grew up in that in that area. DeKalb, Illinois, on the way to Chicago. There's an old school arcade that's been around since the '80s. They still run it quarter style. It's fantastic.
So
there's our sports theme cover issue.
You know there's your fighting one, and
Yep.
and these are also those are the covers, but also they're also the posters, right? So
Yeah, we have
does
fun with
does the same guy do the art, or is this multiple people making these
this
posters?
has all been one guy, and we now actually even offer T-shirt versions of all these things if you go off of our website.
Oh, really? Okay. So
Yeah,
oldschoolgamermagazine.com.
yeah, Old School Gamer or oldschoolgamer.com will get you there also. And I just literally put the link up right before the show started to go over to it because I hadn't put it on there yet. And we've already had a couple dozen shirts sold in the last week from other people. So, but yeah, they're cool. The poster versions are a little bit different. They don't have our logo right up at the top of it. It says, fight or something like that on it up at the top.
So I know this is kind of a delicate topic because we're in the retro gaming community and we have friends, and I don't want to go too much in the weeds of it. But do you think any of the controversies that have happened recently have helped or hurt the retro gaming, or brought the community, or brought it more light with the public? Like, I'm just going to throw it out there, the whole Billy Mitchell cheating quote unquote scandal, whichever side you stand on. Do you think that you've got to cover that as a journalist, and essentially because you're writing a magazine about the community?
Well,
do you think this helps or hurts the community as a whole?
It pulls it up into the mainstream a little bit more. Billy is a controversial subject. I've seen him do everything that they say he didn't do. I've physically been there. I've constantly seen him do it. The questionability of the tapes from 20 years ago or whatever, the new rules they warranted on it. That's sort of like taking baseball rules from 2020 and applying it against a 1940s baseball team.
Oh, the old slow ball era, now
they're taking something out of its own environment and stuff. But the key is that he's been a good spokesperson for the industry. He's yes, it's controversial. Yes, he plays a bad guy in the movie. But it has helped things overall. It's gotten people excited about retro gaming some more. So even with the negativity that it does stir up, I still think it's a positive for everything. All I say is meet Billy sometime, see him do the stuff that they say he didn't do. When I was at the Retro City Festival in Los Angeles, we brought him out. The promoters brought him out, and we literally had him on a live stream in front of people, breaking Pac-Man, going to the 256th level. And he would basically go to a hiding spot on the screen somewhere when someone wanted to get an autograph or a picture with him. So it took him about 8 hours to do it, but he did it. So it's not like Barry Bonds can still hit home runs like he did when he was on steroids. Billy Mitchell can still do what
allegedly on steroids. Allegedly,
okay.
Come on.
Allegedly, allegedly wrestling is real. So go ahead.
You're right. So
I'm having fun, by the way, Hal. This is a blast. Bring me back again next year.
Oh man, hopefully sooner than that. But
okay.
What has been the when you're doing all your research and setting up the itinerary for each issue, what has been the hardest research project or person, or, have you had the hardest task of getting an interview with somebody? Like, I really want to track this person down, or I really want to find something out about this game or console that prototype. Has there been a project that's just been super difficult that you would consider the most difficult one?
We're still fighting on a couple of the battles on stuff, and I don't write as much of it as I did in the first couple issues with stuff, but I've been able to get through to most people I want to get through to. Through a friend of a friend, we'll know somebody, on stuff that's out there. I still have to do more stuff with Richard Garriott. He's a subscriber. We popped a couple emails back and forth on stuff. But basically what we do when we come up with topics on the article, we post in our staff group on Facebook. We talk about it and say, who's got a connection, who knows somebody. And usually someone knows someone who knows somebody that we can usually get through. There's not a lot of stuff we've missed. I mean, Eugene Jarvis is a plethora of information. We've talked to him on a couple of different things. I'm going to go visit him this summer. So, I mean, just getting through to people. I mean, we haven't been able to get through to much of the stuff in the Nintendo world because it's overseas. but we're making connections. I have a new subscriber to the magazine that has a retro history on the Xbox also that is now working in marketing at Nintendo. So we're making connections. There's people still in the industry from back in the day that when we are more interested in, they're still doing their circles.
Well, if you hadn't seen our first episode yet, we did a document. We interviewed Christian Dietering, who made a documentary. Actually, went to Japan and talked to
Yep,
some Nintendo people.
I saw that video.
Maybe you should talk to him and see if he's got some connections, because he was big in the Nintendo age thing, so he might know some people to.
Christian's a very cool guy. I love the event he runs. I'll be at it next time he puts one together.
Hopefully it'll be next year. Hopefully all these conventions come back next year.
There's a couple still left this year, but not much compared to before. And some of the fall ones are still debating what they're going to do. Most of the big ones have canceled, but there's still going to be a couple more.
Now, I think I forgot to ask. You said one person does the posters. Who does it in case someone really, or is that proprietary, or is someone like, man, I want someone to design something for me from that guy?
Yeah. Thorvaldson is his name. You can catch
That's
him.
right. Okay, you did say his name. Right. Okay, I want to make sure.
You can catch him in conversations online. I found out from a friend of a friend on him. He's cool as long as he doesn't do the same kind of stuff for other magazines. I'm, in the retro arena, I'm cool with it. I mean, he does.
Well, you're the only game in town, right? So.
Yeah. There's books and there's other stuff out there, and we've got a unique deal on stuff, and he's making a little bit of money off me, but he also enjoys it. He's come along to a couple of cons and met people, and I want to get him out there a little bit more too. So I don't mind at all.
So what? When is the next episode or issue coming out?
Next issue will go to press in about a week. We're working on technically the July issue. People are still getting their May issues in the mail because we don't control the postal service. Sometimes it takes 3 weeks for people to get their magazine when we send it out. And that's the
So you said that's the July. So you're skipping the June one?
We're every other month. So
okay.
It's 6 times a year.
Right.
And that issue is in process now. So anybody that subscribes to the paid digital version of it in the next week or two will get that as their first issue. But the thing that we're in the process of doing right now is we've always had a free digital version of the magazine, which you can get to go by going to oldschoolgamer.com/subscribe. But we're going to have an in-between version that people want to get a digital version and help us pay our bills and get a little bit more out of it. You'll be able to get that effective in about a week or so. We'll have that option out there. So there's a $10 option, a $30 option with us for anybody in the U.S., a little bit higher in Canada, and outside of that, it gets too darn freaking expensive.
So what will be the advantage of the paid digital over the free digital?
The free digital is going to only be 24 pages now, and the paid digital is going to be 48 to 64 pages. We're going to be adding some more material to it. So we're kind of slimming down the freebie option just because, honestly, we just got to pay the bills. And we had people telling us, I'd like to donate some, so make sure I can get something extra out of it. So effective probably in about 2 or 3 weeks, the free version is going to be a little bit smaller. Still beefy, still something cool and free. But
so the paid digital version will be identical to the print version.
The paid digital version actually probably be a little bit bigger than the print version. We're going to add some extra retro ads, maybe some extended articles of stuff maybe sidebars or something like that. So it's good. It's going to rock. I'm real proud of it. I'm actually in the middle of working on some of the stuff with it now.
So how can people go online and subscribe?
Oldschoolgamer.com.
They just go to your website, oldschoolgamermagazine.com?
Yeah, Old School Gamer Magazine or oldschoolgamer.com. We got them both. You jump over to that. There's a free subscription pull-down option. There's a Patreon option. Then there's the paid subscription option. And you can also buy all the back issues. Let me not say that. Not all the back issues. 1 through 3 and 5 are gone. 6 through 16 we have back issues of.
Okay, so you sold out the very first ones. So first editions are very valuable now because they're.
Yeah, I've got like 2 or 3 copies of each of those myself, but I ain't letting go of those. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're framing. You framed the very first one right off the press, right? You framed it. That's your very first, like people frame their first dollar. Did you frame your first magazine?
I didn't frame it up, but I've got a nice, excessively mint copy of those first couple issues set aside. And that's actually the first card Walter did for me. I think he did it related to Free Play Florida and handed it to me down there based off that first issue.
Right. So I know you said you like Intellivision was your first console. So, because I ask everybody this every episode, so you should be prepared. What is the game you're good at, and you can give anybody a run for their money? There's got to be one. I've played this for 40 years or 30 years or whatever. I know I'm good at this one.
My favorite arcade game, which I'm actually reasonably good at, but not competitively level at, is the original Atari Vector Star Wars, where you're going after the Death Star.
Where you
that's
go in
my
the trench
favorite
and all that?
machine. Yep. I'll play that a ton. As to console games, I'm not real good. I'm not that good.
You're getting better at Super Mario Kart, though, right? You'll be able to get competitive.
I'm getting better. I'm pretty good at the frog bog, but yeah, I've got about every.
Are you the real life? Are you the walking gray bush?
Yeah.
You've seen that movie, right? Come on.
So I mean, I'm okay at Mario. I enjoy playing those competitive Nintendo World Championship, like 1990 carts and stuff like that.
Right.
And playing those, I'm okay at that. I'm not really that good at any of the stuff.
So have you been competing against your kids right now that everything's kind of shut down and you're stuck at home?
No, I sit and watch them play. I got.
You're not like, oh man, time for the old man to show us up.
Yeah, come on, let's turn on the breakout machine and jam.
Hopefully the battles still work.
I've got a breakout machine in my family room, so.
Oh, nice. Yeah, do you have a pretty large collection?
Of arcades? No, not really.
Well, just games in general.
Games in general, probably 200 or 300. I've got
that's pretty good.
In the way of arcades, I've got a Defender cocktail, a Donkey Kong cocktail, my Star Wars, my Breakout, the Asteroids cocktail. I seem to like the cocktail machine.
I'm restoring a Defender right now, so if I ever get it done, I'll have to send you some pictures of that.
Cool.
So now someone turned it to a double dragon and painted over the original artwork, and so I've got the stencils and everything. I've just got to sit down and just
it'll look a lot better.
Brave the heat to do it.
Versus stickers or regular stuff, stenciling it would look the best. I've got some friends that
and so I've just got to sand it, paint it, and just get all that taken care of. It's hot right now, man, and it's in the garage.
Yeah, it's hot here in Iowa. I can't imagine Texas, brother.
Oh, it's getting there. It's man. Well, this is why I miss conventions. It's cool in conventions. I've been outside a lot. That's why I'm all red right now, because I was just out at the lake, man. So it's be better to get inside conventions and not know what time it is when I get out.
You also spend a couple hours more than that setting up and sweating out too, getting stuff inside, man.
Oh yeah.
I've seen the stuff you produce. It's fantastic, man. We got to get you at more of these cons. I'll work on that for you.
Well, I appreciate that. So, is there anything else you want before we've been at this for a little bit longer than you thought. It's been almost 45 minutes. Is there anything else you want to tell people listening what
if you're
about your magazine or?
Yeah, if you're interested in getting involved, you've got some writing skills or other stuff you want to do. Can't promise any pay because I'm not making money. This is an expensive hobby for me. My gift to the industry. Email me at rb@oldschoolgamer.com or hit me on one of the Facebook or some other way. And if you got a story to tell, you got something you want to do, we'll put you up to a little bit of a test on your writing skills and get you out there. We're looking to have a ton of content. We want to double the size of the magazine. We'd love to go monthly if that's even possible. Right now I want to double the size of the magazine, but keep the quality there. I don't want it to just be another place where people secondhand hear stories and work off of Wikipedia and write an article. We go to the direct source whenever we can of who made these things. That's why the stories are so good that we're able to tell.
Right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, and it's been a lot of fun. I hope that we'll be able to do this again sometime. And
totally game. We'll
I hope this gets you a few more subscribers. So, because you do a great job with your magazine, man. It's been really good.
Fun with it. And just if you're going to be at one of these gamer cons, look us up. Chances are we'll be there. If there's more than 500 or 1,000 people at a gamer con, we're probably going to be there in some form.
Well, thanks for coming on. I look forward to talking to you again. Hopefully, seeing you maybe at Classic Game Fest. And but
Cool.
I hope you have a great rest of your week and weekends. Stay safe, man.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. All right, that was Ryan Berger with Old School Gamer Magazine. Really appreciate him coming on. I hope that y'all got a lot out of it because I thought it was really informative. Really, he's got a really great magazine. I hope you'll go to Old School Gamer Magazine and subscribe. That about wraps it up for episode 4. Just want to remind you that next week we are going to be announcing our Summer League Online. We're going to be finishing up hashing out all the details, but we're going to be doing a full summer of online retro tournaments, 24 different tournaments over 12 weeks. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, especially since we don't get to do them in person right now. So yeah, tune in next week, June 11th, 8 p.m. Same time as tonight, 8 p.m. Central Time. And we'll go over all the different details for those tournaments, the schedule, the rules, what software we're going to be using, everything. So I look forward to hearing from you next week. Feel free to follow us on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube or Twitter or Instagram. We'll be announcing new stuff soon and posting new content, new videos. I look forward to seeing you next week. Stay safe this weekend. Have a good night.